keeps on burning.
I understand that you're scared, man. But the world can be a scary place.
And those things never happened. She never left the set. I never left the set. We got along great. I think he was young, and he was inexperienced, and I think he simply had to win.
What happened in the famous scene that caused The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air to end? Why did this moment lead to the show being taken off the air? Was it a big fight or a problem behind the scenes?
Basically, at the end of the day, it was crazy.
What was the reaction from the cast and viewers? How did this moment change the future of the show? Could things have gone differently if the scene hadn't happened?
This is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down, and I'd like...
The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is one of the most loved TV shows from the 90s. It starred Will Smith as a teenager from West Philadelphia. Will moves to Bel-Air, a rich and fancy neighborhood in California, to live with his wealthy relatives. The show was funny, but it also talked about serious things like family, race, and fitting in.
You don't think I want to get up out this bed and go catch that...
It's not gonna happen again, not to me.
Will, played by Will Smith, was not your average teenager. He was street smart, funny, and often got into trouble. After getting into a fight in his hometown, his mom decided it was time for a change. She sent Will to live with his rich aunt and uncle in Bel-Air, hoping it would be good for him.
I get a little barbecue sauce. Dude tried to play me down there. You know, they give you the same amount whether you get 6 or 16.
In Bel-Air, Will meets his new family. His Uncle Phil is a serious but loving judge. Aunt Vivian is a caring and strong woman. Will's cousin, Carlton, is the complete opposite of him. He's smart and well-mannered. Hilary, Will's other cousin, is funny in her own way. She's a bit silly and always getting into trouble. These differences made for lots of laughs, but also some heartfelt moments. What made the show so popular was how Will could make people laugh, while also teaching important lessons. It showed how people from different backgrounds can still care for each other and work through their differences. Another thing that made the show special was that it had a mostly black cast, which was rare on TV at that time.
You don't think I want to get up out this bed and go catch that...
It's not gonna happen again, not to me.
But over the years, some critics have said it doesn't really show the struggles many Black Americans face every day. Instead of focusing on things like racism, poverty, or inequality, it often shows a fantasy life. Some people think this is a problem because it makes it seem like all Black people are doing well, which isn't always true.
I understand that you're scared, man. But the world can be a scary place.
On the other hand, The Fresh Prince had a big impact on both hip-hop culture and Black television. It was one of the first shows to really bring hip-hop music and style to a wider audience. Will Smith's character helped make hip-hop more accepted in the mainstream. Many people say the show changed how Black culture was viewed on TV. It showed that Black culture could be fun, cool, and successful. Professor Andrew Horton says that Will Smith's success on the show helped him become a big name in Hollywood. The show helped make hip-hop a part of American culture, and it showed that Black culture could be popular with everyone, not just Black people. In many ways, it predicted how hip-hop would grow in the years after the show aired. It helped make hip-hop a huge part of American music and entertainment. Author Willie Tolliver also talks about how important the show was for Black identity. Will's character moves to a wealthy neighborhood, which shows that Black people can be successful and move up in the world. This was a big deal because many people didn't see Black people in rich or powerful roles on TV before. The show made people think about how Black people can be more than just one thing or stuck in a certain place in society. While the show was groundbreaking in many ways, it didn't always show the hard parts of Black life. It focused on the good parts of success, but it didn't deal with things like racism or poverty that many Black people face. This leaves room for people to talk about what it really means to represent Black life. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air helped change TV, but it also made people think about how Black life should be shown.
Big wheels keep on turning, raspberry keeps on burning.
Now, when it comes to the behind the scenes of the show, not everything was as fun as it seemed on screen. One of the biggest stories involves Janet Hubert, who played the original Aunt Viv. She was on the show for the first 3 seasons, playing the tough but loving mom of Will. But when season 4 started, fans noticed something strange. Aunt Viv was suddenly played by a different actress, Daphne Maxwell Reid. This change was never explained at the time, which left many wondering what had happened. Years later, Janet Hubert revealed the truth. She said she left the show because of a toxic working environment. She pointed out that Will Smith, the star of the show, had a big part in her decision to leave. According to Janet, her relationship with Will became difficult, and she felt unappreciated. She claimed that after she left the show, Hollywood blacklisted her, making it hard for her to find work.
And those things never happened. She never left the set. I never left the set. We got along great. I think he was young and he was inexperienced, and I think he simply had to win.
The situation between Janet and Will only got worse over time. After The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air ended, Janet made a video where she blamed Will for her departure. She also criticized Jada Pinkett Smith's call to boycott the Oscars, saying it wasn't sincere and turned into an attack on Will. Will Smith, however, had his own side of the story. He said Janet was difficult to work with. He explained that Janet didn't like him getting the lead role on the show, even though he was just starting his career. Will said Janet was upset because she thought she deserved more attention, and she didn't like how quickly he became successful. In an interview, Will even mentioned that Janet's anger started before the show even began. But Janet Hubert's story is very different. She has said many times that she felt mistreated by Will and the other people on the show. She believed her departure from the show was planned from the beginning. Janet has also said she will never forgive Will for how he treated her. In a later interview, she claimed that the lies spread about her career and the show completely ruined her life.
I went back to them in 2009 and I said, please, I need you to clear my name.
You talked to him directly?
I spoke to JL when my dad died and my brother died.
Alfonso Ribeiro, who played Carlton Banks on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, made some interesting comments about his time on the show during a stand-up comedy set in 2009. He talked about almost being fired from the show and shared a funny but serious story about one of his co-stars. He said that everyone he worked with was great, except for one person. He jokingly said, "First mom, not so much." This comment got boos and hisses from the crowd. He went on to explain that legally he wasn't supposed to talk about it, but decided to anyway. He said that the woman who played Aunt Viv, Janet Hubert, had some serious issues. She went nuts, he said. Ribeiro explained that Aunt Viv's behavior became so difficult that it was hard for everyone to work with her. By the second season of the show, it got to the point where the cast felt like something needed to be done. They were all very close and treated each other like family, but Hubert's actions were ruining that. Eventually, she was fired from the show, and Daphne Maxwell Reid was brought in as the new Aunt Viv. Ribeiro said they all loved Daphne and they moved on. However, this stand-up routine took a serious turn. Some people in the crowd seemed to take offense, especially fans of the original Aunt Viv. Ribeiro acknowledged that Hubert was a talented actress and that she was funny, but he also called her behavior cuckoo, trying to lighten the situation with humor.
Basically, at the end of the day, it was crazy.
In 2010, Hubert shared her side of the story in an interview with Black America Web. She recalled a time when Will Smith, who played the main character, made "you're so black" jokes in front of the audience. These jokes were hurtful, and Hubert said she stood up to him and told him how disrespectful it was. The audience's reaction showed that they didn't understand how hurtful the jokes were, and she explained that Will didn't realize how damaging his words were to women like her. She mentioned a joke Will made, saying, "Yo mama's so black, when she looks at her shoes, she thinks she's looking in the mirror." Hubert said she was offended by these jokes. The drama between Will Smith and Janet Hubert, the original Aunt Viv on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, started in 2011. Will posted a photo of the cast without Janet, and it stirred up old tensions. When people asked about a reunion, Janet said there would never be one unless Will apologized. She called him an egomaniac and said that he hadn't grown up. Janet felt that Will didn't defend her or the other cast members when it was time for a pay raise. She thought successful shows like Friends got more money, but the Fresh Prince cast didn't. By 2013, Janet seemed to change her mind a little. She said the cast had been successful, and she was an important part of the show. She felt valuable, but also admitted that in Hollywood, it's easy to feel ignored. When asked about rumors of a feud with Will and Alfonso Ribeiro, Janet said that Will probably said things about her that weren't true because the audience was on her side at the time. She also claimed that Alfonso had lied, but she had proof to show those things weren't true. Janet also shared that she tried to talk to Will. She said she told him that they both had said things they regretted, but Will needed to take responsibility for some of the things he had done. She especially wanted an apology for something he said about her on TMZ after her mother passed away. Janet was tired of being hurt by the media and really hoped Will would apologize for everything. In November 2020, something big happened. Janet made a powerful appearance on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion on HBO Max. She and Will sat down and talked for the first time since she left the show. It was a huge moment. Janet opened up about her difficult personal life, including an abusive marriage. She also cleared up the rumors about her firing from the show. Janet explained that she was offered a bad deal for season 4 and decided to leave instead of accepting it. That reunion showed a side of Janet many people hadn't seen before and helped heal the past tension between her and Will.
I was 21 years old.
Yeah,
You
I know. I know.
Everything was a threat to me.
Will admitted he wasn't exactly Mr. Sensitivity back in the day. He said he was young and immature, totally clueless about what Hubert was dealing with. Now that he's a dad, he gets it and wishes he had handled things differently.
The person I want to be is someone who protects you, not someone that unleashes dogs on you.
He apologized, and they seemed to squash the beef. After their heart-to-heart, Janet joined the rest of the cast for the reunion.
Could have talked to Uncle Phil about, sliding me into his will.
The show ended after 6 seasons. But why did it come to an end? Was it because the show ran out of good ideas, or did Will Smith want to try something new? Will Smith himself shared the real reason in his memoir, Will. According to him, the show didn't end just because it had run its course. It ended because he made a tough decision about his future. Will explained that he thought the show jumped the shark in season 5, episode 15. In this episode, Will gets shot and Carlton starts carrying a gun. Will said this moment felt a bit over the top, like the show was no longer as special as it used to be. He realized that he had bigger dreams and wanted to try acting in movies. He was at a crossroads in his life and career.
Freeze! LAPD, freeze!
Even though Will loved the show and the cast, he knew it was time to move on. To help him make his decision, he turned to someone he admired, actor John Amos. You might know John Amos from the classic TV show Good Times. John was also a guest star on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and Will looked up to him a lot. John Amos gave Will some advice that changed everything. He told Will about his experience on Good Times, where he was fired and his character was killed off because of a contract dispute. John warned Will that Hollywood doesn't care about TV stars' careers or families. He said none of these execs or producers or business people give a S about your family. He told Will that it was his job to protect his career and to leave the Fresh Prince with dignity before it became something people didn't respect. Will said that advice hit him hard. He didn't want the same thing to happen to him or to the cast of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He felt that it was important to end the show while it was still good, instead of letting it go on too long and become something less than it was. So Will talked to the cast and told them that season 6 would be the last season. He gave them a full year to plan for the end, making sure everyone would leave on good terms. Will promised them that they would finish the show in a way that felt right. Will didn't want anyone to feel used or unimportant, like John Amos had. He wanted to make sure that everyone left with their dignity. Will said in his book that he could feel John's pain, and he didn't want to feel the same way. He wanted the cast and crew of The Fresh Prince to be proud of what they had done, and he didn't want them to end up in a situation where they felt like they were pushed aside or forgotten. Though Will stepped away from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, he wasn't completely done with the show's world. In February 2022, a new spin-off series called Bel-Air premiered on Peacock. The show starred Jabari Banks and was produced by Will Smith, who served as an executive producer. Even though the original show ended, Will's connection to the franchise didn't. Now let's change gears and look at some behind-the-scenes facts that you were not aware of. In 2020, a well-known DJ and producer, Jeffrey A. Towns, who is better known as DJ Jazzy Jeff, faced allegations of sexual harassment. These accusations became part of the larger Me Too movement, which was a time when many people spoke out about being mistreated or harassed in the workplace. DJ Jazzy Jeff is famous for his music career, especially as part of the duo DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince with actor Will Smith. They became well known in the late 1980s and early 1990s for their fun rap songs like Summertime and their work on the hit TV show The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Jazzy Jeff was always seen as a talented and fun-loving DJ, known for his creative skills and his friendly personality.
Mr. Jazz.
However, the allegations that came up in 2020 changed how some people saw him. The accusations were not related to his time working with Will Smith or his famous role on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but they still affected his public image. The number-sign Me Too movement encouraged people to speak out about their experiences with sexual harassment and abuse. Many people, especially women, started sharing their stories about what had happened to them, hoping to bring more awareness and change. When Jazzy Jeff was accused, it shocked many of his fans because he was someone who had built a good reputation over the years. The accusations were serious, but it's important to note that Jazzy Jeff denied all the claims. He made it clear that he did not agree with what was being said about him. Even though the accusations weren't connected to his work on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, they still made people question his character. For someone like Jazzy Jeff, who had a career based on trust and respect in the music world, these kinds of allegations could hurt his legacy. His reputation had been built on positive music, good vibes, and being part of a successful partnership with Will Smith. But with these accusations, some people were forced to think about whether they still saw him in the same way.
Okay, I didn't go ice skating. I went to a party.
Tatiana Ali, best known for playing the sweet and shy Ashley Banks, had one of her most awkward moments on set during a very important part of her life, her first real kiss. What was supposed to be a sweet and private moment for her quickly became a moment she wished she could forget, all thanks to her co-stars and the pressure of being in front of the cameras. In a 2018 interview with Us Weekly, Tatiana Ali shared how this special moment went from bad to worse. Imagine this. You're about to have your first kiss, and instead of it being a quiet, personal moment, you're surrounded by huge cameras, and your co-stars are watching your every move.
I just remember everybody, people that were not involved in the scene at all, coming to set that afternoon to see.
Oh no!
And I just remember Karen Parsons, who played Hilary Banks, Karen, Alfonso, just like, and we had.
Tatiana said that her co-stars, Alfonso Ribeiro and Karen Parsons, who played her on-screen siblings, Carlton and Hilary Banks, decided to show up on set that day. Their presence made things even more nerve-wracking. They weren't supposed to be there, and Tatiana wasn't expecting them to watch such an intimate scene. Tatiana recalled how she felt during that moment, saying, "I just remember Alfonso and Korean standing there with the cameras. And on sitcoms, the cameras are like huge cameras. I just remember them looking behind the camera. Who has their first kiss like that?" At that moment, Tatiana felt like she wanted to disappear. She even said, "I wanted to die."
I just remember them like looking behind the camera, like. And now it's like a fun,
Sure, now it's funny.
I mean, where's the first kiss like that?
Right.
At the time, I wanted to kill him.
But over time, she was able to move on from that embarrassing experience. By 2013, Tatiana was more open about discussing relationships and her personal experiences. In an interview with HuffPost, she joked about how her views on things like relationships had changed over the years. She humorously mentioned that she considers certain things, like one-night stands, to be guilty pleasures. She even compared it to her love for bread pudding, joking, "Who doesn't love bread pudding?" Even though her first on-set kiss was a disaster, Tatiana Ali grew from the experience. Over the years, she has become more comfortable in her own skin and learned to laugh about the awkward moments in life. As we look back on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, its legacy extends far beyond its 6-season run. The show's influence on television and popular culture is profound, setting a precedent for how sitcoms could tackle social issues with humor and heart. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was a show that defined a generation, broke barriers, and left an enduring legacy in the world of television. From the controversies and challenges behind the scenes to the cultural impact and the cast's post-show successes, the story of this iconic series is a tapestry of triumphs, transitions, and timeless appeal.
What did you do?
Everybody's always blaming me for everything.
Before he became president, Donald Trump was known for many things, including his unusual habits and flashy lifestyle. One of his appearances was in the show The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but his time on set was far from smooth. In the episode titled For Sale by Owner, Trump played a guest role. According to a crew member who spoke to Newsweek, Trump was not an easy person to work with during filming. The crew member revealed that Trump was unhappy with his script. He complained to the show's executive producer, Gary H. Miller, saying his lines weren't funny enough. Miller, confident in his work, tried to reassure Trump by saying, "Trust me, you'll get a laugh." Despite this encouragement, Trump remained upset. He reportedly threw the script pages onto the floor in frustration. This scene caused quite a stir among the crew. Trump's then-wife, Marla Maples, was seen picking up the scattered pages. When a crew member offered to help her, she replied, "I got them." "I'm so sorry." The crew member who witnessed the incident described Trump's behavior as rude and disrespectful. They said, "The way he did it was terrible." This encounter left a strong impression on those who were there, highlighting the challenges of working with Trump during his brief acting career. It's interesting to see how Trump's attitude during this filming experience adds to the stories about him. His time on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is just one of many examples that show his complex personality. While many people remember him for his role in politics, moments like this remind us of his past in Hollywood. That's it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching.